What's up, folks? It's Dr. Remy LeBeau, and I'm coming at you once again from the X-Lair to provide you my thoughts on this brand new X-Men series, The Gifted, that just premiered tonight on Fox. It's the first proper network TV show based on the X-Men franchise. Obviously, Legion has already debuted. It was an FX show. FX shows are more of a basic cable type of network production, which in that case, the head of FX has been trying to produce shows that are of like the caliber that you would see in like premium cable channels like HBO, Showtime. So Legion was something really special. If you watch Legion, it was a work of art, ultimately, and just a fantastic show overall. Loved that fucking show. I've got my review up for the entire season on my channel. I didn't want to do an episode per episode review. I wanted to wait till the end to really kind of gauge if I felt that the show was going to be of the quality that I wanted it to be, and it wound up being that, and it far surpassed it. And I love that freaking series, man. Love it. I can't wait to see what more they do with it. The thing about that series is that it was like very sort of on the fringe of the X-Men universe. It implied a lot about a lot of connections to the X-Men universe, but didn't solidify those connections completely. Obviously, Legion is David Haller. He's Xavier's son. He's a mutant. The villain in that show turned out to be the Shadow King. It was very much connected to the X-Men canon in a tangential way, not necessarily in a direct way. The Gifted, directed by Bryan Singer, the director of the original X-Men, X-Men 2, the X-Men Days of Future Past, and of course X-Men Apocalypse, all of which for me are probably the best X-Men films. X-Men Apocalypse I liked a lot, even though it appears that like in general people didn't love that movie. I did like it quite a bit. Didn't love it, didn't love the representation of Apocalypse, but overall I was very happy with that film, and I look forward to more films from the X-Men franchise, even though of course the latest chapter, X-Men Dark Phoenix, is being directed by Simon Kinberg, who's never directed before. He has been a producer on this series for a long time. He's been a writer for both these films and like the recent Fantastic Four. He wrote X3, so he's a hit and miss type of guy, and he's a studio person, you know. So for me, I'm very skeptical of the quality of that film, of the film that he's creating, whether it's going to turn out good or not. I'm very torn about it, to be honest. I'm afraid, because we are potentially getting a repeat of history with what happened with X-Men 2, and sort of a build up to the Dark Phoenix. And then we got X-Men 3, which was probably the worst. No, X-Men Origins Wolverine is the worst of the bunch, but that one is pretty fucking close to it. And I feel like now with this new trilogy of films that Bryan Singer directed, Days of Future Past and Apocalypse, that we were going to once again build up to this Phoenix storyline, and once again Bryan Singer is stepping away, and once again you're getting somebody coming in who may not do the best job. I want that film to work out, but I don't know if it will, and I'm not going to think about it until I actually see the movie, because I don't want to dwell on like the potential disappointment that may or may not happen. I acknowledge that there's a possibility that movie may actually turn out really good, and if it does turn out really good, then fuck yeah, you know. Kudos to Simon Kinberg for his first directing job, whatever. I don't know. That's in the future. Here we are in the present. The Gifted. I've been very skeptical about this show. I was very skeptical about Legion, to be honest. When I first heard about both of these shows being produced as a sort of collaboration between Fox and Marvel, I had mixed feelings about it. Obviously, I'm a huge fucking X-Men fan, for God's fucking sake. This is the X-Lair. But ultimately, like, you know, the X-Men franchise has been hit and miss, and like, and Fox, I don't think, even at this point, even with a lot of their successes, even with Logan, even with Deadpool, and some of the X-Men films that they've produced, I still don't feel like they quite understand what they have on their hands, because if they did, they would have a better cinematic universe than the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they would have had it before Marvel did. But the fact that they don't, it just reflects on the fact that they don't really truly, they haven't ever truly understood what they have, what they own, and the potential of it. And so, you know, when I heard about these shows, I didn't want to get excited about it, because, again, it's like, are they going to do the right thing? Are they going to go where they need to go with it? And with Legion, they went further than I thought they would, and it was fucking great, as I already mentioned. Today I watched The Gifted, and I have to say, I'm very impressed by The Gifted. I'm very impressed by the show. There's a lot about it I like. There's a couple of things I didn't like much, but it's so small. No, I'm not even gonna nitpick at those things. Like, I really fucking like this show. I think it is a very successful X-Men show. There's a lot of promise here for a great story. I love the whole story, everything about the setup, the way it played out, the tension, the momentum, the characters, the exhibition of powers. There's a lot about it to like. This is a really good X-Men show, and I think it's like I wanna just be all in, you know. But it's just like you know, Fox drops the ball, man. Like, yeah, Bryan Singer's directed this first episode, but like, what's gonna happen after it? You know, are they gonna cheapify it? Is it gonna be just like not as good afterwards? I don't know. Like, we can only wait and see. But there's definitely a lot to like about this show. And I'm gonna start with the cast. The cast is fucking awesome, man. I don't think there's one actor I did not like. I think everybody did a really good job. You have a couple of teenagers that are pretty central to the storyline, and they were good. Teenagers are always hit and miss. You never know if you're gonna like them or not. And I really did wind up liking these folks. All these Mutant Underground players, love them all. Like, I really bought all of their performances. Really liked the chick that played Clarice, the Blink. We saw Blink in X-Men Days of Future Past. The effects obviously were much better in that film than they were in this show, but I'm really liking Blink a lot. Like, the actress that played this character has a lot of charisma, and I really want to see more from her. The character that played this new character, his name is, I'm looking online. No, I don't know. It's this. It's like the head of the Mutant Underground. He seemed like a Latin actor. Where is he? Sorry, folks. I'm trying to actually know people's names, whereas normally I don't have all their names and information. Okay, Jeff Daniel Phillips played Tex. And Christian, no. Anyway, it's that one character that has like the light power, who really maybe should have been Sunspot, but I'm gonna assume they did not include him as Sunspot because Sunspot is going to be in the New Mutants, which is cool. So I'm okay with that. But I always kind of have a problem when like you have a show like this and like they're basing it on like this incredibly vast canon of stories and characters, and they create their own character. Like, I get why you would do that, because as creators you want to create, right? I get that. But this is something that's been around for so long. There's so many characters in the X-Men universe. Like, can't you just use existing characters? It's a small gripe. I'm not gonna focus too much on it because I did like this actor and I like his power. And I think that there's a lot of promise there, and I look forward to seeing more of him. It was kind of like the Morph thing. I remember when the X-Men animated series first debuted in the 90s, and Morph was in it, and I was like, who the hell is fucking Morph? Like, Morph was not in the comics, right? But they killed him off right away, and then they brought him back later, and then they actually introduced him in the Age of Apocalypse in the comics, but he never really showed up in regular continuity after that. or did he? I don't think he did. I think it was one of the it was a group of characters that were the externals. I don't know. They like jumped through different dimensions. I forget. I think it was one of, anyway. It was a weird thing to introduce Morph then. It was a weird thing to introduce this new character here. But whatever. I'm cool. I'm willing to go down this road with this show. This road of them creating kind of new elements-ish. Meaning, I'm okay with part of it. There was one thing I was a little hesitant about, and that was like the actual Sentinels that we saw. They looked more like the Matrix Sentinels. They look, and like miniature versions of them, and they looked just kind of like an excuse or like a way for the show to kind of represent, you know, something that is familiar, the Sentinels, but on a scale that they can afford on a television budget. And I didn't love it, you know. I don't think you need to come up with something like that for this show. I don't think it's necessary, given there's so much already in the X-Men universe that you can borrow from and you can use. You know, you just don't need that. If you're not going to have actual Sentinels, then don't have anything, you know. Just like have there be like a Sentinel mutant hunting agency, as they do. And, you know, maybe in the season finale have an actual Sentinel in the show. Like, actually spend the money on it and make it look good. Versus, like, coming up with this weird kind of, like, Matrix Sentinel miniature thing. That, you know, whatever. But that's me nitpicking at some stuff that I don't need to nitpick on. Because I really like most of what happened in the show. First of all, starting at the beginning with that whole sequence of them finding Clarice Blink. And losing Lorna Dane Polaris. Lorna Dane Polaris is one of my favorite X-Men characters ever. And the fact that she's in the show is very exciting. The fact that her hair's not green, I didn't like. I mean, why not make her fucking hair green, you know? But maybe they'll make her hair green later. I thought that they were going to connect her to Magneto pretty quickly, but they didn't. You know, we'll see what happens and how that plays out. I like that she's in the show, though. And that's just really exciting to me. So yeah, her, Thunderbird, Blink, really loved all three of the characters, the actors, the representation of them on the show. The family, the core family, love freaking Stephen Moyer, Vampire Bill, fucking love him. So glad that he's on the show. He's such a great actor, and he brings so much fucking legitimacy to the role and everything. And of course, Amy Acker, who fucking played Winifred Burkle on Angel, is in this show, and she's like the mom, and she's fucking awesome too. Like, she is so fucking likable, man. And for her to be in this show and be a central character, be the mother character, and kind of, you know, the fish out of water sort of a person who just is a mom and like is now dragged into this like fight to save her children who are mutants, is a great fucking role for her, and she's got a great fucking presence, and I look forward to seeing how her character develops throughout the show as like a main human character, which is great. You got to have some human characters in there. The kids, really like the kids as actors. Wasn't loving their storyline too much until the whole sequence at the gym. The whole sequence at the gym really reminded me of fucking Carrie, man. That prom scene in Carrie where like she's bringing down the fucking school. It was very similar to that. The boy was being bullied by some kids, and all of a sudden his mutant powers develop, and he apparently is some sort of really strong telekinetic, I think is what his power is. Very powerful, and that was really exciting to see the magnitude of his powers demonstrated in such a magnificent way, in a scale that you want when you're establishing power, you know, actual power in a show like this. You got to have that kind of show force, and they had it, and they didn't go cheap on it, and I appreciated that quite a bit. We'll see what happens later in the show, but for now, at least they're spending money. They spend money on the pilot, so that's a good thing. The whole plight of the family as fugitives that started immediately after that sequence in the the school dance or whatever it was, the gym. Great. I love that it wasn't like prolonged, that it wasn't like, okay, let's have a lot of sequences of them like talking and like talking with the cops and eventually realizing that they're going to be taken away, and like all these like long dialogue driven moments that you usually have in scripted television shows. No, it's like bam, the kids got home, bam, Central Services show up, bam, the family runs away, bam, Stephen Moyle gets involved, bam. They're trying to get hook up with this Mutant Underground thing. Like it was all like the momentum, the pacing was really good. And then what happened? It just all kind of culminated in that final sequence where they were cornered, and then they were able to escape with Blink's power, which is awesome. I love Blink's power, man. I love that. I love her teleportation power. I love the way it's represented in Days of Future Past. And in this, you can tell the portal's a little cheaper as far as like the special effects go, which, why? You know, like spend the fucking money. Make it look like it did in the fucking movie, exactly like it did in the fucking movie, because why the fuck not? You know? Like, we're going to appreciate it that much more. We're going to talk about the show that much more, you know? But whatever, you know, if you have to cheapify it a bit, then so be it. Fox. There were some great little Easter eggs, a lot of X symbols everywhere. In that Mutant Underground, there was like a vault inside. It looks like an old bank or something, and there was a vault, and like the wheel to open the vault was an X. That bar that they went to meet where the father met the Mutant Underground leader. It was called Tex, and there was a light up sign, but the T and the E were not lit, and it was just an X, which was really cool. And then when they were going to the bar, fucking Stan Lee comes out, which is fucking awesome. A Stan Lee cameo in this show, brilliant, wonderful. And then I think when they sat down, there was like this image of a bear, which might be that demon bear that like the New Mutants are gonna fight from the old New Mutants comics. It's going to be in that movie. So that might be an Easter egg itself. Oh, and there was also that moment that the Mutant Underground leader is like being called by the father, and like the ringtone is the X-Men animated series. Theme song, theme music, whatever, jingle. Pretty cool little Easter egg there. Probably more, maybe more that I didn't catch in the background. There were other mutants around, not easily identifiable by me, but maybe familiar, maybe not. Who knows? There's a lot of promise to this world that they've built within the show. It's going to be... Oh, there was a mention of the X-Men and the Brotherhood. So we don't exactly know when in the timeline of the films this falls, but based on what I heard in the media, that this is going to be connected to the X-Men films. And so we may get some like really strong connections to the characters and the storylines that we've seen play out in those films. Maybe in the new timeline versus the old timeline before Days of Future Past. Yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot of stuff. I really like the show. Really looking forward to more of the show, and I will be reviewing every episode and giving my thoughts on it. Excited to finally have an X-Men show besides Legion, which was more of like this really wonderful like X-Men art film that was 8 episodes long. This is more like a TV show. This feels more like a television show, like a traditional television show set in the X-Men universe, which great, because like I'm an X-Men person. I'm a Marvel person. I love DC, but I'm a fucking Marvel person, and I'm an X-Men fucking person. I deserve a fucking X-Men show, a damn good fucking X-Men show that's like serialized, that focuses on the actual X-Men, not like a fringe character like Legion, which, by the way, fucking who cares, because that show's amazing. I can't wait for season 2, but I still want my fucking legit fucking X-Men scripted, serialized fucking show, and this is looking like it may be it, which is really fucking exciting. I'm really excited about that. So you know, I've been watching all the fucking DC shows, fucking Green Arrow, Flash, fucking Legends of Tomorrow. I've been watching fucking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on and off. Haven't been watching Gotham because that shit fucking sucks. Fucking hate Gotham. But I fucking loved this show, you know. I fucking love this show. Oh, Daredevil, fucking all the Netflix stuff. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Defenders, The Punisher. Fuck yes. Awesome. Fantastic. That's some Marvel shit that I can really sink my teeth into. But it's not fucking X-Men. God damn it. This better be the fucking show I've been waiting for. It feels like it might be. But again, I have to be skeptical about it because Fox has let us down before, right? Fox can easily let us down. Both the network and the fucking film studio can let us down. They are not the most responsible holders of the X-Men fucking franchise license. And it is, it's up in the air, but right now it's looking good, folks. It's looking good. It looks like we might have the fucking X-Men show we've been waiting for, the live-action X-Men show we've been waiting for, which is really exciting. I can't wait for more, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks for checking out my video. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, you can subscribe down there. Just press subscribe, and I'll have some more stuff for you coming up. And as always, I'd like to remind you, if you haven't already, you better put an X in that box, ladies and germs, because ain't nobody checking me.